Right, that and that. Okay, so once again, this is all recorded. Good morning, I'm Helen Tite. This is Pilates. This is the first Pilates of 2022. And because it's a new year and a new season, is that what we were saying, new quarter, what I'd like to do, as always, is rein it in and bring it back to basics. Let's mobilize you, let's familiarize yourself with your body again, because self-awareness is key. And once we've done that, then today I'd like to explore more work around pelvic floor health, how we can engage the pelvic floor, and then from there we will try and work on switching on and off the pelvic floor in various positions. So we're going to stand in the first place. If there's anything that you're uncomfortable with, or if there's any interaction, always email or pick up the phone or in Zoom, say hello and ask the question. But today is really about resetting, okay? So in the first place, what I'd like you to do is bring your feet together. Now, as you do that, when you bring your feet together, your knees together, I want you to squeeze your buttocks. So by doing that, you squeeze your buttocks, you just start to come into a little tuck under, what we call a posterior tilt. And that bit's really important, okay? This is just helping us to set ourselves. As we do that, now think about the weight distribution in your feet. If you want to do this with your eyes closed, that's fine too. With weight distribution, I need equal weight into your heels as your big toes, but also your baby toes. So think of it as like a triangle. Find that place where you feel equal, because then I'm going to change it. You're going to turn your toes out, then you're going to take your heels out. So your feet are in parallel. Now with your eyes closed, stretch your toes. Feel the weight the same between the big toe and the little toe, and then think about where is it sitting in your heels. You're on the inside of the heel, the outside of the heel, or into the center. Now relax your kneecaps, because often when we start to think about the feet, there's a tension that will go automatically up through the thighs. So just try and relax your kneecaps. With your eyes closed, think about how tall you can be. And really lengthen up through the spine, creating space between each of the vertebrae, all the way up to the top, with your chin just tucked in. And then your shoulders, they're settled back and down. Your neck is long. Your hands will sit at your thighs and even slightly turned forward. And that bit's quite important, okay? Remember this. This is about setting our shoulders and that we're exactly aligned. Our hips are aligned. Our shoulders are at the same height. Our belly button, we're starting to pull it in. Okay, from there, rise up onto your toes. Ooh, the mat came with me. And lower down. Take your time here. This is just activating balance. We're just working on waking up some synapses in the brain, and the brain's going, ooh, I'm thinking about being balanced. Do something, muscles. Let's do this one more time, but as we do this, we take a huge breath in and a large breath out. Inhale for the entire lift. Exhale for the entire float down. Repeat that one more time. Breath in as we're pulling in, we're lifting up inwardly, internally, breathing out and just relaxing the body. Good job. Okay, so we're thinking about lateral thoracic contraction and expansion of the ribs. So lateral, so sideways, thoracic, rib cage. So when you breathe in this time, I want you to think about really filling up around the rib cage. So breathe in, feel that expansion. Exhale, and imagine you're kind of like taking all the energy out and creating tension at the same time as you breathe out through the mouth if you can. Inhaling, feeling that expansion through the ribs, and some of you might even feel it around your hips as you do that. Exhale and just bring it all in, shortening, tightening, pulling in, all into your center. So this is working on your diaphragm. With your diaphragm, so it's kind of like a separator, it's a trampoline lift. Your heart sits on the top of your diaphragm, your lungs settle onto the bottom of your diaphragm. So, and it's almost, it mirrors where your ribs are, okay? So this time, breathe in, feel that lift and expansion, that lateral thoracic breathing, exhale, and be conscious of the diaphragm coming downwards. So that creates that tension, so you feel this tension coming on, and at the same time we start to lift the pelvic floor. Breathing in, feel that expansion, exhaling, and that tension coming on. Okay, it's not always about the breathing, it is thinking about what's going on internally. Take your right foot forward, your left foot staggered. Think about your alignment, so we're balanced on both feet and the weight is equal and distributed right to left. We're going to rise up, but as we rise up, both heels lift simultaneously. And as we lower down, the heels land simultaneously. Okay, so we're lifting up, engaging through the pelvic floor. Feel that tension, exhaling and letting heels, oh, I didn't quite do that. So land the heels exactly the same moment in time. And the reason we are doing this is around your good alignment of your core muscles. Your pelvic floor is having a conversation. Your pelvis is just slightly twisted here for a moment. As we lift up, we're lifting up through the pelvic floor. You need that concentration. Slow, steady movements, controlled movements. Well done. Let's switch feet. So left foot forward, staggered stance. As the heels lift, they lift simultaneously. So really checks and balances here. We're really thinking about 3, 2, lift. And when we breathe in at the same time, there's a lot going on. Tension on around the waist. As we lower down, heels hit the ground at the same time. They melt into the ground at the same time. What you may also feel here, experience sensation around the back of the knee, maybe into the hamstring, back of the thigh, and you may feel this internally, and that's completely normal. That's all those signals saying muscles are moving and waking up and stabilizing, fixating. They all have different roles. But the pelvic floor is primary to us, particularly as we age. Well done, settle. So this time I'm going to ask you to stand in a wider stance and then to turn your toes out a little. Now some of us are quite comfortable with toes right the way out. I'm not asking for that because I just want your knee as it bends to follow the shape of the foot. It goes out in that direction. If your toe is out too wide, it just becomes bit unstable. So sharp hell, 45 degrees. So what I'm looking for is left knee bend and send the knee towards the middle toe on the left foot and reset. Right knee bends and send the right knee over the middle toe of the right foot. Okay, so hopefully we're pain free here. Now if there is pain and niggles with the knee joint here, you may need to adjust your foot, but let the knee follow exactly over the foot, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. What I want is us to maintain good alignment so we're not off kilter when we're mobilizing joints. But this is really the start of lubricating the knee joint in a healthy way. Now, we're going to just stay low. So both knees are bent as we're going side to side. We create here a vulnerability into the pelvic floor. So as we're moving side to side, I want you once again to think about breath and lift of the pelvic floor. So where there's wind, where there's water, there is tension. So there's a gentle lift as we move side to side. Okay, lovely. All very subtle, but all essential movement patterns. Okay, so I'm hoping you're going to say, oh, my knees started feeling a bit, and now they're going, oh, hello, and relaxing. Give me a thumbs up just to tell me that you feel a bit better as you're moving. Great. So confidence in movement. Brilliant. That's exactly what I want to hear. Okay, and it's like that cold butter in the fridge, because we're starting to move the knee joints, repeated actions, we're mobilizing. It's called a circulation boost. That cold butter, which is your knee joints, because they haven't moved much this morning, are now more like a lovely olive oil. Okay, good. Okay, so from here, I want you to square off your heels. So wide stance and heels. Lovely. So feet are parallel forward. I want you to hinge at the hip and just sit back into your left heel. Hinge at the hip and then sit back into your right. So at the side, so I purposely put on stripy leggings today. So what I'm looking for is a push back rather than a hinge forward. I don't know if you can see the difference. So I'm trying to get my hip to come backwards so my knee is behind my toes. So it's more of a push back. And what you get here into the groin, were you okay? Shall I do that again? So rather than just bending the knee, let's put some thought into it. The bottom goes backwards, so the knee is behind the toe. The bottom pushes backwards. Now as you repeat this, relax the knee joint. So what you might notice, that as you go in side to side, your straight leg, the knee is tense. So relax it. And then what should then happen is the stretch is stronger into the inner thigh, yes? And what you can do is start to go deeper. So this year we are going to explore this depth of movement. We need to do that today. But this is literally creating depth in the movement. Jane just went, no, I'm not doing that today. Well done. Okay, so I'm just going to tie my hair back because I want to demonstrate the next bit to you. The vertebra, lots of space between the vertebra, so your spine. So what I'd like us to do now is to take our arms into bent elbows, about shoulder width, stand in neutral, brace abdomen, and I just want you to take your arms up for a minute and then down. Up. So what we know is that many women struggle with and there's a connection with estrogen here, but many women struggle with shoulder pain and pinned shoulders. So I wanted to start move one, just starting to take your arms back. And what does that look like? So can you lift up through the ribs a little bit as you take your hands and elbows back? Now what I'd like to do, so if we, you guys keep going, on camera 2, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay. If you use a wall, take your hands and the forearm, elbow to wrist onto the wall, and just lean down a little bit. We're going to do another version of this in a little while because I don't feel we've done enough attention to the shoulder, and I'm asking you to breathe and move, drop the chest, eye gaze downwards. Just keep breathing and keep moving. Now in stand, same thing. All we're doing is pulling the arms overhead. We're just getting into, there's quite a few muscles, like little spindles, that sit around your shoulder blades. Serratus, intraspinatus, teres minor, teres major, and supraspinatus. There you go. Whew. So you've got a lot of tiny little muscles, and those niggly little things are the things that go wrong as we get older, and when you pick up your shopping, oh, you get this pain, and it's serratus. It's one of those muscles. They get tight, they're annoying, and we're just releasing them, okay? Lovely, and I can see a bit of subluxing going on there in the zoom. Okay, so a sublux is when we create space into the shoulder joint. Okay, lean forward, circle arm. Now you have a trigger point here, so if you want to, you can take your finger just into the front of your shoulder. You'll find that sweet spot. And as you circle, you can almost get your finger into the joint, and you're like, oh, hello. It's nice, isn't it? It might move. Lovely, okay. Try the other side. This is the thing I'm going to do more of, getting close into the camera so you can see. So find that sweet spot. Circle, oh yeah. Feel it? So on your shoulder, you keep going, on your shoulder here, you've got the deltoid, and it's made up of 3 compartments. So middle, anterior, posterior deltoid. So you're just getting your fingers between the front and the middle, and then that allows that freedom in the joint. Lovely. Lovely. Ah, which takes us nicely to the next bit, okay? So left arm, bring it forward. Doesn't matter if it's bent, I don't care right now. What I'm looking for is the arm to go across high, so shoulder height. What you might feel is a bit of restriction here. Okay. The next bit is an opening and a rotating, and everything rotates from the entire body, but the arm stays at the same height. Now, keep doing this right to left. This is just such a marvellous thing, because there might be new sensations going on everywhere else in your body. You keep going. I've just gone off camera for a second, just to let in a bit of air. Beautiful. And then release. Okay, let's try this the other side. So it's interesting, isn't it? I've selected the height. That's the important thing, is the height, and let everything go with you. Allow all the joints to go with you. So the knee joint, for example, is designed to flex and extend, but it's also allowed a little bit of lateral movement. So when we do this rotation, you're getting that slight lateral movement in the knee joint, but you should feel this in the arches of your feet. You should feel it quite a lot around the lower limb, which is important. You may also feel it around those sits, those muscles in the shoulder that I just talked about. Serratus, infraspinatus, teres major, teres minor, supraspinatus. Well done. Beautiful. Okay, so the next thing from here, because we're really thinking about that shoulder mobilization, is to open up the chest. So we do that by standing tall and sending the arms out. So when we open up the chest, be careful not to flare the ribs. So it's a lift of the collarbone. Lovely. Okay, now we rotate the palms to a thumb up. So we've lifted, and now we've extended. Got it? Yeah? There you go. Now watch. I'm using my breath. My hands are coming palm forward, palm backwards. Now have a little play with this. It may be that your body feels that you want to make this bigger, or you really want to stretch your arms out, or that it's a little bit challenging into the shoulder. Lovely. Just going to, excuse me. Lovely. 2 or 3 more of those. That should feel really quite nice in your shoulders. You may even start to feel things in the front of your chest too. Beautiful. Okay, lovely people. Take a rest from your shoulders. Bring your feet together. We're going to slide down towards the knee and then send arm towards ceiling. Slide down. At the moment you're looking at me, okay? So this is just, again, creating space around the obliques, getting that stretch out of the waistline, okay? So we're also flexing the spine laterally. So, and this is that thingy around the sacroiliac joint. We need to protect what's going on there in terms of any sciatica or sciatic pain. The lateral movement, so what I'm looking for is arm to ceiling, hand to knee. The progression here, hand to knee, arm to wall. Now take your time with it, and at the moment your eyes are on me. Lovely. So freeing off that space, but this is lateral flexion. So how we change this next is arm to wall, eye gaze to ceiling. So you've got right hand to right knee, left hand to right wall, palm up, eye gaze to ceiling, and release. Good job. Okay. So hand to thigh, hand to wall, palm up, eye gaze, and feeling that freeing off of your rib cage. Really important here, really important for back health. Feel nice? Like going, yeah. Now, the wall is an option. If you, and don't see it as a, so this year is about positivity, okay? This year is the best year ever. So don't be at war at yourself if you use a wall because your balance is off. That's completely fine. Don't get mad. I'm telling you not to get cross with yourself. What I'm looking for is a right leg circle. If you use the wall, that's fine, or something to support, even the back of a chair. I'm just looking for, I'm not setting you up in any other method here. I'm just getting you to circle through the hip. Then we switch. Other leg. Like, she's up to trickery. That's what she's doing. There's trickery going on here. She's going to say something sneaky. Yep, absolutely. Right, switch back, leg one. Brace, center, activate. Send out your right leg to the side. Okay, and then as you circle, send it back. So it's a squeeze through the buttocks on the back side of the movement. Okay, switch legs so we're all on the right. So feel that squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, switch, so we're on the left. Go again, circle, circle. So all of this stuff targets around the hips, automatically challenges your balance, hits you at the pelvic floor as well. So you're feeling that engagement. Vulnerable, let's not be vulnerable. Circle, well done. Okay, relax it off. Da, 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 da. Relax it off. Okay, now cross your left leg over your right. Zip up. Don't really say that so much these days. Okay, back to that flexion. We're going to send up arms skywards, and then we're going to lean and straighten and lean and straighten. That's it. Like you're a tree in the wind, that type of thing. La la la, la la. Can you feel how unsteady your feet are? Your feet should be working really quite hard right now to be able to keep you balanced, okay? Uncross, recross. So we're now on the other side. Same thing, arms high, and we're floating arms side to side. This is brilliant. So whilst you're doing that, your brain automatically and your eyes are going, ooh, unsteady, reduce my base of support, I feel really unsteady, keep me steady on my feet. Your brain is working really hard, sending messages via your nervous system, that telecommunication going, this is what we're doing, muscles, contract, stabilize, fixate. Feet, keep balancing, keep balancing. So all of this is really strong balance work, okay? Well done. And it's okay to step out in that compensatory step. Well done, team. And relax. Okay, so we're starting to really think about moving down the body. Firstly, let's have a look at a cross-body lower, or also known as a curtsy squat. So we step, we cross behind, and we lower. I'm not asking you to go near the floor today. It's a step, it's a cross, it's a lower. Well done. Step and cross and lower. Arms are there for a reason, right? So if you feel unsteady in your feet, what do you need to do to become more steady? Would you prefer to be on one side only for 4, or would you like to alternate? Have a play with this. See how you are responding to the movement. How do your knees feel? How do your ankles feel? How do your toes feel? How do your hips feel? Self-awareness, driving that self-aware message. Beautiful. So going back to classical Pilates, now the jury's always out around back health. So before we go into a full roll down, let's have a look at a few things. Firstly, let's hinge at the hip. Okay, now I can see myself on camera, and what I can see is that I am not 90 degrees at the hip. So here is what I'm going to do. Camera 2. I'm going to lean my bum against the wall. My heels aren't quite on the wall, but my bum is against the wall, and I'm going to work to hinge. So my bum is in the same place, and I'm trying to relax my toes. And then I'm going to rise up again. Why are we doing this? Proprioception, where our body is in space. As we start to hinge at the hips, your feet will try and hang on, your knees will try and hang on. We're activating the hamstring and we're engaging the core muscles as we do this, okay? So we're lowering. I haven't even brought my arms into play yet. But you should be experiencing quite a strong stretch through the back of the knee, calves. It's a hinge, not a roll, okay? So a hinge is a flat back. A roll is rounded shoulders. We're not doing that. It's a hinge at the hips, and having your bum against the wall is giving you that feedback where your body is in space. Now the up phase, so from the hinge position, the up phase, gently squeeze through the buttocks and engage the pelvic floor muscles. Okay, so it's the up phase, squeeze through the bottom. Try not to crunch your toes up when you do that. So it's the up phase, gentle lift where there's wind, where there's water. You've got that sensory feedback by keeping your bottom against the wall. Well done. And to explain that in a bit more detail, just one more, it's the feet. Because while bodies are lazy and they will take us to the safest place and they'll take us to that place of least resistance. So when you hinge, your weight shifts in your feet. When your bottom is just touching the wall, your feet are forced to stay in the same position. So it's really reining in where you are and really sending those messages where your body is in space. Well done. Lovely. Okay, so now let's roll down and see how that feels. So this is creating space in the vertebra. This is literally allowing each vertebra to topple off each other. But to do it safely is engaging through the center. So from your tall and lengthened position, chin tucked back, and it's the feet again that I'm caring about. Chin to chest, pull in above your ribs, start to relax and roll down. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. You've toppled over. Take a breath. As you breathe out, you rise. Slowly taking your time to come all the way up to the top of the movement. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. And repeat. So use your breath to do this. So slowly roll like a wilting flower. Certainly in my house. Wilting flower. As you roll down, your eye gaze is between your knees. And as you rise, you finally add a drink. And finally, you're flourishing as a plant, the flat, and lifting and moving to the light. Do this one more time before we add on. Think, belly pulled in. The feet are still, they're not moving. So I want us to bring in the arms and shoulders. So we're rolling down, feet in neutral, brace through the abdominals, fingers towards your mat, start to shift your weight slowly and walk yourself out, knees down. So here we are. I keep losing my microphone pack. Let's do my head in. Right, okay, right. Spread your fingers for me, and again, the other one, camera 1. It's really common to roll into your outside fingers, your baby fingers, okay? So I want you to put, and so you can see, as I'm on my little fingers, my elbows bend, and I've kind of buckled in my arm. I look more like a bulldog. Right, so index fingers, let's see if we can press them down. And as soon as you press your index fingers down, your elbows rotate. And that's where I need you to be, because we're not engaging all the right things when the weight is into the outside of the hand. So that in itself might be a challenge for you, something for you to take note of, that you need to work on that wrist mobility. And let's have a look. If we just draw some circles with the upper body around the wrists, let's go clockwise, anti-clockwise, just small little circles. And this movement is challenging wrist action. To progress this, you curl the toes under your heels, still circle. So the point of contact is toes, knee, hands, okay? And we're still circling. Think about pulling in through your center, and once again, that vulnerability in the pelvic floor is really heightened here. So once again, think about just tightening up where there's wind and where there's water. Okay, so by now your wrists are going, oh, I'm a bit tired, my forearm's a bit tired, elbow, shoulders a bit tired. Set ourselves in tabletop, curl toes under heels, engage the pelvic floor, and when you're ready, you lift the knees 1 to 2 inches off the ground without dangling the head here. Really pull your belly in towards your backbone. Take a breath. Exhale, lift into down dog. So the tail is high, and really sort of push yourself into position, relaxing, melting the heels, straightening off through the legs, creating that beautiful triangle shape. Take a breath. Exhale, slowly come forward to float the knees. Long spine, avoid dangling the head. So the knees are off the deck. You're using your breath and your pelvic floor is engaged. Breath in, exhale, take it back. There you go. Downward dog. Lengthening, using your upper body to push your body weight into your heels. Take a breath. Exhale, come back down to float. Float those knees, use your breath. Now if you want to, you can just twist your hips with the knees off the deck just for 4 and 3 and 2. Last time, up into downward dog, and lengthen there for a moment. Well done. Knees come down. Relax feet to push with your hands to release the back. So use your hands, keep them where they are, push. So you get a nice stretch out of your back. Okay. Now relax into child's pose. So I asked you in the first instance to just push back. Second one, relax. So drawing your chest towards the mat and really stretching your fingers forward to get that elongation, that space between the vertebrae, really stretching out through the spine. Okay. Kneeling up. We are going to just move our hips side to side. It's just a little release movement. Be conscious of your big toenails. And it's as you move side to side, there's just things being squashed and squidged. Lovely. Okay. Really and truly, this is around flexing at the knee joint. Okay. So from here, let's have a look at our diagonal pointer. Now, I move, because we normally have 2 trees in here, I moved one of the trees out because I knew I was going to do this today. So we're looking at opposite hand to leg, and think about your alignment. So often, if I was in a class, I'd be round touching you, tweaking you. I don't want a low leg. Your heel needs to be the same height as your hip and brace through your center. You bring in the opposite hand, and that contralateral movement, opposite hand to leg, is really good for balance. So now we go out into the diagonal and back 12 and 6 o'clock. Check foot height. Out to the side and back again. Check foot height. And what you might notice that your foot wants to dip, and that's gravity. It's just taking its toll here. Gravity is just pulling you down a little bit. So each time you come back into that movement, just make sure your heel is the same height as your hip and your shoulder. Well done. And release. We're going to switch sides. Okay. So when we're into position from your strong tabletop, we're avoiding dangling the head. Opposite hand to leg. Now really set yourself well here. Palm in, thumb up, out and in. Check. Out and in. Check. Engage pelvic floor. Think about what's switched on. Belly pulled into backbone. So give me 2 and really extend through the knee joint if you can. So I'm looking for a straight leg here. Lovely. Well done. And then release. Good. Okay, well done. So we did a wall thing with the shoulders earlier on. Let's do a floor thing with the shoulders. Create a triangle so you've got fist and a cupped hand. Walk your elbows forward. Drop your forehead towards the floor adjust your knees, walk backwards if you need to. What I'm looking for is a mega stretch around the shoulders, around the shoulder blades, and around the rib cage. So we're really pulling back. If you want to, you can curl your toes under your heels, lift your hips as we did in down dog, and this becomes dolphin stretch. Now, not everyone likes this, so variations, you can walk your feet closer to your hands, so you're looking at your toenails. Well done. Knees down, release off. Good job. Okay, so we're lying on our backs. Bring yourself up and over, around onto your back. Bring the soles of your feet together. Okay, now soles of the feet together. And I'm doing this to reinforce that message, that promise to you about pelvic floor lifting. So often with tension and stress management, we tend to do two things: clench, grind teeth. And as we do that, we have a connection with our pelvic floor at the same time. So if you're a clencher and you grind your teeth, there's a good chance you've got a very high tone in your pelvic floor, because there is a huge connection between one and the other. So the first thing is releasing your soles of feet together, knees wide. Then I want you to separate your teeth and smile at me. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can use your knuckles and just give yourself a jaw massage. Just like press above your teeth, your tooth line then. That makes sense, doesn't it? So just use your thumbs, your knuckles, and just give yourself and your jaw and your cheeks, your cheekbones, a bit of a massage. I know, always crazy with Helen tight, right? And as you're doing that, I want you to think about relaxing your pelvic floor. So working at relaxing the jaw, and at the same time actively relaxing the pelvic floor. A bit bonkers, I know that. Okay, well done. So your pelvic floor now is fully relaxed, hopefully. So that sensation, the pre-wee tingle that I talk about. Now let's think about tightening it and then relaxing it. Now, I rarely show my belly, okay? So I want us to pull in and suck in the abdominals so tight you create massive spaces in your belly, okay? So what we're going to do is lift pelvic floor and then scoop and hollow out, so you're almost really sucking your belly down. And what you might find is tension around your hip bones, and then release. It might also give you wind or cramp, or both. Okay, so let's try that again. So relax, 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 relax. Now we're going to engage and lift the pelvic floor. At the same time, you're going to pull in your belly muscles. And even this time, take your hands and use your fingertips under your rib cage. Right, really get under there. Lift and pull, suck everything in. And if you need to kind of put some pressure on the inside of your, like massage your hip bones, the ilium to the ischium. Remember all of this stuff. And then relax. Whew. Bring your knees together. Take both knees to your right side. And then look left. Left elbow to floor. Left forearm to floor. Really work on that bit. Come back to center. Both knees to your left side. Right elbow to floor, right forearm to floor. So we're stretching out, biceps are stretching, the pectoral, front deltoid, all of it is stretching, stretching, stretching. Come back to center. Okay, so let's slowly, controlled, address core muscles. Take a breath, tightening. We're lifting one leg. When you're ready, breath in, exhale, we're lifting the second leg. So we should be 90 degrees at your knee joint. Okay. Now if you want to today, take your arms overhead. Just allow the forearms to rest on the floor above. If that's too much into your shoulders, bring your hands to your sides, I don't mind. But all the time, we're just relaxing the upper body so we can focus on what's going on through our core muscles. Okay, from here, take a breath in. Exhale, right leg comes out, forward, slowly. Slowly bring it back in. Left leg goes out. Breath in to prepare. Breathe out. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale. And we are taking our time. One breath, one move. Now don't worry if the breath's in the wrong sequence, I don't care. What I care about is that you're consciously engaged in your pelvic floor. So you're working your legs from the inside. And you should feel a real connection with your abdominals when you're engaging your core muscles. Oh, okay. I don't even, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's because my double chin touches my microphone and then I can't. That's what it is, I'm pretty sure. Anyway. Keep going. The slower we do this, now by now team, you're all dying and it feels like it's never going to end, right? Keep going. Now this is really taking it back to basics. The slower we do this, really think about the pelvic floor controlling the movement, because you almost should feel more power inside when you pull up from your inside, your deep core muscles. Well done. Draw your knees into chest and give yourself a cushion and pull it all in. Right. Okay, so take your feet slightly further apart. So the feet are grounded, the feet aren't moving, the rest of you are. Okay, so we're going to work on part of the 100, and it is part of the 100. I'm just going to move my mic because this is definitely not going to work from there. Sorry about the crackling, team. Okay, right. Feet wide, knees wide. The idea is that we're going to articulate the upper back. So the chin will come to the chest and then the upper back will lift. Now this load in this movement, as we're lifting up like this, is going to put a huge amount of downward pressure into the pelvic floor, okay? So this is when we really think about tightening and tension on through pelvic floor. Exhale, lift pelvic floor towards your collarbone. Exhale, relax it down again. Slowly lift and contract. So, and I've placed your feet wide deliberately because again, you're going to get more of that sensory feedback. You'll feel the bowel pressure and it's a natural response. You're shortening the trunk and as a result, the diaphragm is pushing everything downwards. So what we need to do is hold on, allow the pelvic floor to fight that. And as soon as the pelvic floor lifts, you'll actually get a greater lift in your shoulders. So think about now lifting and taking one foot off the floor, lowering and rolling down. Exhaling to lift, leg comes off the floor. Inhaling to lower. Exhaling to lift. Adding in this one leg lift, again creates more of a challenge around the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor, so we're clear about this, is north to south, east to west. So we're front to back, side to side. So as you're flexing chin to chest and doing that roll up here, that's creating that north to south pressure. By lifting one leg, we're starting to work on the side walls of the pelvic floor. So it's all starting to work together, and it will feel, because we're really switched into this today, you are feeling that sensation of bowel pressure, that sensation of lifting and contracting and holding the pelvic floor too, right? Give me a thumbs up to say all of this is making sense to you today. No? Yes? Thumbs up, good girls. Well done. Now do us a favour, just roll over onto your bellies. Okay, we're resting our foreheads onto the back of the hands. Rock your hips side to side for a moment. Then we are going to bring our forearms underneath us, our elbows underneath us, and we're going to relax our bum cheeks for a second. Okay, the idea here is that we're just going to lift up through the back and lower. So we're taking the rib cage away from the floor. Do a favour for me. Use your belly button, pull your belly off the mat, and then settle it down again. So pull your belly off the mat and settling it down. So can you see that subtlety? So I can feel when I'm lifting my belly off the mat, my pubic bones coming off the mat too, okay? Chin is in neutral, so my eye gaze is not downwards. Equally, it's not totally upwards, it's just forward towards where the wall meets the skirting board, meets the floor. And I'm just contracting, squeezing my abdominals and lifting and lowering. Now, it is important to get this stretch in, because otherwise we'll start getting all hunched. It's all about balance. Well done. Last time. Okay, from here, you're going to walk back into 4-point kneeling. Think about index fingers into the floor. So we're thinking about that lovely strong arms. Curl toes under heels. When you're ready, you stretch and lift one knee off the ground. So we're long and locked. Then we do that with the second and we hold it here. So think about our alignment in full plank for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Push back into downward dog. Well done. Come forward into plank. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Knees down into child's pose. When you're ready, lie on your back. Okay, back to camera 3. Lovely. So if you want to sit, you can, but I'm going to recommend you lie back, because this year I want to do some real positivity and confidence building affirmations with with you in Pilates and Pilability. And I want to go back to a method that I used to do quite a lot when I first started out as a Pilates teacher. And by that, we are going to look at our visualizations. So I want you to feel strong and empowered. And often we don't always feel like that. So we're going to imagine ourselves. We start by getting that breath into body. Strong breaths, powerful breaths, confident breaths, whatever that looks like. What you do is imagine you are in your most confident. So when you're owning your time in the kitchen, or when you're being with your bestest friend, or whatever it is that you feel utterly as strong and tall, as empowered and confident. And it might have just been a moment, but take your thoughts to that moment and remember those thoughts. Okay, now you are in a state of relaxation. I want you to come out of your shell and see yourself lying in your position, looking down on yourself and watching you with all those thoughts. Confident and strong. That memory is there right now of you at your most confident, owning it, whatever it is. And you are looking down on yourself, or looking at yourself being that person. And you are bringing that person to now. You're connecting those feelings, that positivity, with yourself now, in this moment, in this year, now. Now I want you to take a big breath in and a big, powerful puff outwards. I want you to take your hands behind your head and lie as if you're fully relaxed and bossing it like a babe. If that's too uncomfortable with your arms there, go into a big star shape. Be open and large and vibrant. Now, as you breathe now, I want teeth and smiles and confidence filling yourself. Exhale and just let it go. Tap into that confident you, that powerful you, that strong, vibrant, beautiful you are. Only positivity, only greatness. Right now, you can see yourself light up because you've got this. You magnificent you. When you're ready, stretch out your fingers, move to your side, and come into a seated position. Give yourself a moment. I'm hoping that you're smiling back at me. Take a long breath out wide. Stretch your arms, stretch your fingers. Magnificent, starlight, confident, positive you are. And bring your hands together into a round of applause. Well done, my beautiful friends. I hope you're well. I hope that was okay. Hey, I've truly lost the plot.